الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلما جهزهم بجهازهم جعل السقاية في رحل أخيه ثم أذن مؤذن أيتها العير إنكم لسارقون قالوا وأقبلوا عليهم ماذا تفقدون قالوا نفقد صواع الملك ولمن جاء به حمل بعير وأنا به زعيم قالوا تالله لقد علمتم ما جئنا لنفسد في الأرض وما كنا سارقين قالوا فما جزاؤه إن كنتم كاذبين قالوا جزاؤه من وجد في رحله فهو جزاؤه كذلك نجزي الظالمين صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers and my dear young friends, last week we ended on the ayat where Yusuf والسلام, expresses and exposes to his brother that he is Yusuf, and the way it led up to that as the brothers entered the palace, they went to Yusuf والسلام, and they informed him that as you instructed us last time to bring our brother, we have bought him. So Yusuf والسلام was happy, and he told all the brothers to get together in pairs so that they can eat. So all the brothers got in pairs, and since there were 11, there was 5 full pairs, and there was Binyamin who was left over without anybody. And he was still young, so he felt this sadness. And Yusuf ﷺ said to him that, don't worry, you can eat with me. As night approached, the same thing happened. Yusuf ﷺ prepared rooms, 2 per room. So all the brothers got together, and there was 5 pairs. But again, Binyamin was left alone. Yusuf ﷺ said, don't worry, I'll take you with me. And he took him in his room. As night approached, you can imagine Yusuf ﷺ's happiness of seeing Binyamin and wanting to get to know him and to express the reality of things. So Yusuf ﷺ started asking, what's your name? Masmuk, what's your name? So he said, Binyamin. So Yusuf ﷺ, what does Binyamin mean? So he said, Binyamin means Ibnul Muthkil, the son of a person who has died, a lost person. Meaning, how? He said, after my mom gave me birth, in a very short period, she passed away. So I was the son of a lost person, lost mother. And then he went on to ask, how many brothers do you have? Do you have any real brothers? So he said, yes, I did have a real brother. His name was Yusuf. And he got lost in the jungle and what X, Y, and Z. And they had this conversation. Yusuf ﷺ asked him that, what if I become your brother? What if I be the replacement of the brother that you lost? So Binyamin said, who don't want to be your brother? You're the king, you're a very merciful person. But you can't be the son of Yaqub and Rahil, because Rahil's passed away now. You can't be my brother in reality. When Yusuf ﷺ heard this, he fell to tears. And he hugged him, embraced him, and he said, I am Yusuf. I am the brother that you lost. I am Rahil and Yaqub's son. So at that moment, you can imagine the emotions and the feelings that they went through. And then he said, if you are Yusuf, and some say whilst they were eating, Binyamin saw Yusuf's hand, and he said, your hand resembles my brother Yusuf. And some say it's that moment, but later on he went and said, I am Yusuf. Plus that happened, and Binyamin was just, I don't want to go back home. So Yusuf said, I can't keep you over here. And like we mentioned last time, if I keep you, then your brothers are going to kick up a fuss. Because they'll say, why are you keeping my brother without any valid reason? So the only way I can keep you is we make a plan. And in that plan, there's a bit of humility for you. There's a bit of zillat for you. And that is, we will accuse you of stealing. So go for it. I'm happy. I want to stay with you. And at this junction, a question arises that Yaqub ﷺ has already gone through a long period of sorrow. And if Binyamin is kept behind, then his sorrow will increase. Why is Binyamin wanting to stay behind? Mufassirin say that Yaqub ﷺ had so much love for Yusuf ﷺ that when he lost him, there was so much sorrow that Binyamin staying behind would not make the sorrow any greater. That's why when Yaqub ﷺ got to know about Binyamin also going missing, he said, Ya asafa ala Yusuf, O biyaddat ayna, that high afsos, regret, remorse over Yusuf, O biyaddat ayna, he became blind. So his remorse was already at the pinnacle, was the highest level. So Binyamin staying behind would not increase in this. So anyway, they had to make a plan. So Yusuf ﷺ made the plan. And that's why we saw from today that فَلَمَّا جَهَّزُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ, that when he, Yusuf ﷺ, prepared their provisions, جَهَّزَهُمْ, prepared, جَهَازِهِمْ, their provisions, جَعَلَ السِّقَايَةَ فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ, جَعَلَ, he placed siqaya, the drinking cup, fi rahli akhi, in his brother's luggage, in his brother's bag. So all the brothers had their individual portions and individual amounts of grains, one camel load per person. And each camel load had its designated person, assigned person. This is Fulana's, this is Fulana's, this is Fulana's, this is Binyamin's. So every person's load was assigned and it was known whose it is. So when he came to putting Binyamin's load together, he placed the drinking cup in his brother's bag. ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ, thereafter an announcer announced, أَيَّتُهَا الْعِيرُ, O the caravan, إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ, verily you are thieves. So as you can imagine, Yusuf ﷺ prepared the grains, all his servants, they prepared all the loads, and he was mounted and he was laden on to the back of the camels, and they bid farewell and salam and walaikum salam and jazakumullah for the hospitality and jazakumullah for coming, and it was nice to see you, and they must have this dialogue. And then the brothers set off, and whilst they set off, you can imagine how happy they are that we were given such honor, such respect. The Malik himself kept us with him, he gave us a room to stay in, he gave us food, and then we've got a full load of grain for each brother, and on top of that we are going home with Binyamin. So when we get home, how happy will our father be, because he gave us an oath, he took an oath from us that I will only send him لَنْ أُرْسِلُ مَعَكُمْ حَتَّى تُؤْتُونِ مَوْثِقًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ لَتَأْتُنَّنِي بِهِ إِلَّا يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ, that I will only send him, Binyamin, on the oath, on one responsibility that you will bring him. So they're going back with this happiness, that we've got the loads, we've got the grains, we're all going back together, Binyamin's with us, we managed to protect him, we managed to fulfill our oath. And as they go, ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ, all of a sudden, they start to hear some i'lan, some announcement creeping into their ears. And Mufassirin say, أَذَّنَ, when it comes on the wazn of أَذَّنَ, it means repetition. So they kept hearing, oh the caravan, you are thieves, oh caravan, you are thieves, oh caravan, until they thought, wait a minute, we are hearing something. And the word comes, ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ. So Mufassirin say, the word ثُمَّ is both. And in Arabic, ثُمَّ and the word fa. فَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكُمْ, fa is a letter used to show sequence. And ثُمَّ is also used to show sequence. But there's a very delicate and slight difference. One is جَاءَ الْمُدَرِّسُ فَالْمُدِيرُ. This is one way of saying it. جَاءَ الْمُدَرِّسُ فَالْمُدِيرُ. This means that the teacher came, then the principal came. But that fa that you bring in between, it shows and implies that they came straight after each other. But who came first? The teacher came first. There's another particle which is wow. جَاءَ الْمُدَرِّسُ وَالْمُدِيرُ. The teacher and the principal came. When wow is used, there's no sequence. It could mean they both came together. It could mean the teacher came first. It could mean the principal came first. When fa is both, then fa shows sequence. That first the teacher came, then the principal came. And when thumma is both, for example, Safara Zaydun thumma Amrun. Zayd underwent a journey. Zayd took a journey. Thumma, then Amr took a journey. So over there in English we still say then. But in Arabic, thumma means that the second person carried out the action, but after an interval of time. There was an interval, there was a break. So it could be 1 week, it could be 10 minutes. But it didn't happen together, it didn't happen instantly. So in the same way, now if you put that into the Quranic context, thumma adhana. So they left. فَلَمَّا جَهَزُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ جَعَلَ السِّقَايَةَ فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ. And then they started moving off. ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ, that means then they called, the announcer called, meaning he didn't call straight away, he let them go. He let them walk to a distance. Why? Because Yusuf ﷺ planned in such a way that there should be no smell, there should be no suspicion of foul play, that this was a trick. They made this, they done this. This was made up. This was configured from before. They put the cup into the Binyamin's bag. So to get rid of this thought and to get rid of this suspicion, he let them walk. And as they walked, ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ, then the announcer, he announced that, O travelers from Canaan, أَيَّتُهَا الْإِيرُ إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ, indeed you are thieves. And as soon as it came into their ears and they were innocent, and this is naturally when a person's innocent, he will straight away turn around and say, wait a minute, I don't need to run for anything, I'm innocent. So the Quran goes to say, قَالُوا وَأَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ مَاذَا تَفْقِدُونَ. So straight away they halted and they turned, قَالُوا وَأَقْبَلُوا, and they faced them and they turned towards them, towards the announcer. وَأَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ, alayhim means upon them, towards them. So that means the announcer came with a delegation of people. So they stopped and they turned towards him. And he said, مَاذَا تَفْقِدُونَ, wait a minute, مَاذَا تَفْقِدُونَ, what have you lost? What's been stolen? That when you know you're innocent and you're not guilty, then if somebody accuses you, somebody puts a false accusation on you, then straight away you want to clear the air, you want to put the record straight. So wait a minute, I'm not going to move away. I want you to tell me what's gone missing, what's been stolen, what you're accusing us of. So the messenger then said, قَالُوا نَفْقِدُوا سُوَاءَ الْمَلِكِ. قَالُوا, they, the messenger, the announcer said, نَفْقِدُوا سُوَاءَ الْمَلِكِ, we have lost the drinking cup of the king. نَفْقِدُوا سُوَاءَ الْمَلِكِ وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, and whoever brings it forth, حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, for him shall be a camel's load of provision. وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ, and I am the guarantee for that. I will make sure he gets it. So the announcer replies that the king's goblet, the king's drinking vessel has gone missing. And it's a very valuable vessel, very valuable in terms of money and in terms of state as well. It's a king's. And when it was a king's, I mentioned before, some say it was made of silver, some say it was made of gold, some say it was actually made of diamonds. It had diamonds stuck on it. So you can imagine how expensive it was. So straight away, he said that whoever brings it back, so they didn't know nothing about it because it's a plan. So they can't bring it back, but just to make it look realistic, if you know who's got it, or if one of you brings it back to us, then we will give him a reward. Another common loads of grain. That's a very great reward, because at that time, money was not of value. People were starving. There was famine, there was a drought, and grain was the most expensive gift that somebody could give. So the person said that if you know of it, or if you know that somebody's taken it, give it back, we'll close the subject, and in fact, we'll give you a reward for it. And from this, scholars deduce the permissibility of awarding somebody a gift or giving incentives, that if you do such an act, we will give you this. And even with children, if you adopt this method, whereby our children or madrasa children, sometimes you see that some madrasa children are misbehaving, rather than keep on shouting at them, if you give an incentive, that if this week you don't scream out, if this week you don't argue or quarrel or jobio, then I will give you a present. This will become more effective than you shouting. And nowadays, some people think that tarbiyat is done through shouting. In fact, when a person keeps shouting at their children, or the ustad keeps shouting at the students, or the teacher keeps shouting at the students, or where the senior keeps shouting at the juniors, a time comes that the juniors become shout-proof. No matter how much you shout at them, they don't blink an eyelid. It makes no difference to them, because they're used to you shouting. So shouting is not an effective manner. It's not an effective method. Or Hazrat Muhammad mentions that when you do tarbiyat of children, The way to do tarbiyat of children, in one of his majlises, he mentioned that tarbiyat is making their mindset, making them understand. And the way to do that is firstly you put across the virtue of what you want to put across to them. You want to put the virtue of respect in class, that boy is being disrespectful. So you want to put the virtue, you have to put the virtue of respect in front of him. That when you respect, this happens, Allah gets happy, you get rewarded. People look at you as a respectable person. And at the same time, you also explain the negativity and the ill effects and maybe the gunas. That if you be disrespectful, then others will also be disrespectful towards you. If you be disrespectful, then there will be quarrels. If you be disrespectful, then people will do this to you. A child's got a habit of lying. So you sit down with him and nicely you put it through to him. You try to make it go through his mind. Look, if you say the truth, Allah gets happy. If you say the truth, it is something that you'll be rewarded for. If you say a lie, then Allah gets displeased. If you say a lie, then a stench comes out of your mouth, so bad that even the farishtas move away from you. That means the rahmat farishta are not there anymore for you. On the day of Qiyamah, you will be pulled for this. So you've given the positive side of it, the virtue of it, and you've also given him the negative side of it. And then what you do is you give him an incentive. That look, if all this week, if you don't lie and you say the truth, on Saturday, I will give you some dessert. You're going to buy him dessert anyway. Why not make it an incentive? You're going to buy him some trainers anyway. Why don't you say, if I get 5 star from your ustad every day, your ustad sends a message or whatever, the book you've done your sabak every week, then next week we'll buy you a pair of trainers. You know he needs a trainers in 2 weeks anyway. But if you do it like this, slowly you will make their mindset. And they will understand that what's right for us, why we should do it, what's wrong, why is it prohibited, and why we should refrain. But parents never mention why you shouldn't lie. They never mention why you should say the truth. The boy doesn't know. There's no incentive for him. There's nothing to work for. There's nothing to look forward towards. Then the parents just end up shouting. And then the boys just become soundproof, shout-proof. It makes no effect to them, makes no changes to them. So this is a very effective way. And from this, we can understand that incentives, just like this, the caller mentioned, that whoever brings it will give you a camel loads. So we can make this. In Ramadan, we're going to give Eid at the end of the month anyway. So why don't we say this? Look, if you fast for every fast, I'll give you £1. This is that meat. Why do you have to fast for? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given outcome. You get this reward for fasting. If you don't fast, this is the guna. This is one fast of Ramadan. If you fast for your whole life, you will never get the virtue for that one Ramadan fast. At that age, all these things sink into the child's heart. They all sink into his mind and brain. Parents are so busy. Parents don't have adequate ilm. That's why it is very important that even parents sit in majalis of ilm, so they understand what they need to say, how they need to say it, what's the effective way of doing it. And when a person does this, then you will see that changes will happen in the house. Changes will come in the house. There was a time that you kept shouting and you saw nothing was changing. You've sat down with the boy, you've sat down with the daughter, you've explained to them, you've told them nicely, you've given an incentive. Over time you'll see that they are working towards that incentive and there are changes in their life. So anyway, then the proclaimer says that I will be guaranteed for this. But the brothers knew nothing of this. They were innocent and they had no knowledge that this was a plan between Yusuf and Binyamin. So straight away, he said, Qalut Allah, by Allah, لَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا جِئْنَا لِنُفْسِدَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. You are aware of the fact that we have not come to cause mischief in the land. وَمَا كُنَّا سَارِقِينَ, and nor are we thieves. So straight away, when they were told that you have stolen, or maybe if you give it back, we've not stolen. So straight away they refuted it and they denied the allegation in the strongest and the most stern possible manner. That Qalut Allah, by Allah, we've not come for this. We the children of a prophet. We don't steal. We've come from a far land because there's famine there, there's drought there. We've come as we're in poverty. We've come to get grain. We've not come to cause mischief. And some Mufassirin say that they were pointing towards the fact that since the moment we entered Egypt, لَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ, you know. How do they know? You know, and the people of Egypt are witness to the fact that as soon as we came into Egypt, we did not cause harm to any one person. In fact, when our camels were walking through Egypt to come to the palace, we covered their mouths so that they do not go and start to eat from the land of people, that their harvest or their crops get damaged, that they ruin their crops. This was how cautious we are. And in terms of lying, we don't lie Because they were pointing towards the fact that when the last time we came, Yusuf ﷺ put back the funds, the capital, he put it back in their bags. And وَلَمَّا فَتُوا مَتَاعُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتُمْ, they found their funds. He said, if you were going to steal something, when we got them funds, we will return them. If you were in reality chores or you were going to steal something, we would have kept that behind. That we didn't keep behind, but we returned it, which was ours and which was given to us, we returned it. Why would we want to steal something that's not ours? Why would we want to take something which is not ours? So the brothers, in a very strong and stern manner, with a lot of confidence, they said that, قَالُوا Allah, by Allah, we've never come to cause mischief. We've not come here to do chori. We've not come here to steal from you. We've not come here, none the least, we've not come here to steal from the king or his king's vessel. So what are you talking about? So the proclaimer saw that this person is very confident, and they knew the vessel is in the bags. قَالُوا فَمَا جَزَاءٌ إِن كُنتُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. So the dialogue continues. قَالُوا فَمَا جَزَاءٌ. They, the announcer, the delegate that came from Yusuf, they asked them, فَمَا جَزَاءُ. What is the penalty? In kuntum kadhibin, if you are found to be liars. You're saying you're innocent. What if you found a vessel in your baggage? What if, let's assume it's found, then what's the penalty? Then what? Right now you are confident it's not you, you don't have it. What if we go through a search period, we go through a full searching process, and we find that it's in your baggage, then what's the penalty? And again, Mufassirin say that this was thought through, and Yusuf wanted to keep Binyamin behind, and he was conscious that according to a land of Egypt, according to the Egyptian land, the rule was, if somebody was caught stealing something, then the penalty was that either he gets whipped, he gets flogged, he gets caned, either physical punishment, or the second punishment was that whatever they steal, you have to pay double of it. So if you stole something for £10, you pay back £20 and you're free. If you stole something for £100, you give back the item and £200 and you're free. You stole something for £1,000, you give that item back at £2,000 and you're free. This was the law of Egypt. So if Yusuf was to prosecute them according to Egyptian law, then he can't keep Binyamin behind, which was what he wanted. They would say, okay, you found him Binyamin, what's the cost of it? Okay, either hit him, cane him, flog him, jo bhi karna hai, or if you want the money, then we'll try to accumulate some funds and we'll pay you. But in that case, Binyamin would not be able to stay behind, and Yusuf wanted to keep him behind, and Binyamin wanted to stay behind. So that's why they posed the question, that what will be the penalty? Do you tell us? Because Yusuf, they knew that according to Yaqub Sharia, and where they came from, Canaan, the rule of the law in Canaan was Yaqub Sharia, because he was a Nabi. And according to Yaqub, the law was, whoever steals anything, then he himself becomes the repayment, the punishment. He becomes the gulam and the servant of that person. If Bakr stole something from Bilal, then never mind giving Bilal the thing back, Bakr becomes Bilal's servant. That's it for 1 year. He is servant, he is slave. And he wanted this, he wanted to keep him behind. So he asked them, what's the rule? So they gave the ruling according to Yaqub Shariat, and this was going to facilitate Binyamin staying behind. So he said, قَالُوا جَزَاءُ مَا وُجِدَ فِي رَحْلِ فَهُوَ جَزَاءُ. That the penalty is that the person, قَالُوا جَزَاءُ مَا وُجِدَ, the penalty is the very person in whose luggage it is found, فَهُوَ جَزَاءُ, he will be the repayment for it. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ. This is how we punish the oppressors. Meaning this is how we punish the people that do chori. So okay, because they knew that later on the vessel is going to be found. So straight away he said, say, look, what's the penalty now? You tell us. They have no right to stand. Okay, the penalty is what we said, that you can keep behind the person that stole it. So anyway, as soon as they say this, فَبَدَأَ بِيَوْئِيَتِهِمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also talk about how the whole search process started. And again, Yusuf salam, فَبَدَأَ بِيَوْئِيَتِهِمْ قَبْلَ وِيَاءِ أَخِيهِ. Before he started looking at the baggage of Binyamin, he started looking at the baggage of the brothers. Why? If they were to start with Binyamin's baggage straight away, they say this is foul play. This has been pre-planned. This is the undercover plan. You've done it. All of a sudden you pick the baggage and it's from Binyamin. So for Bada Abiyawiyatim, they started with the luggage of the brothers. And they went through the luggage of all the brothers, nothing was found. And the only luggage that was left was Binyamin. So again, first Mufassirin say that at that moment, the people said that This person can't be doing it. He's an innocent boy. He wouldn't do it. So the brother said, no. Search his bags as well. So we have a peace of mind that you've searched everyone's bag, be clean and clear right till now. Might as well do the last one as well. وَبَدَ بِيَوِيتِهِمْ قَبْلَ وِيَاءِ أَخِيهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَخْرَجَ مِنْ وِيَاءِ أَخِيهِ. Then it was taken out, it was removed from his brother's luggage. And inshallah, we'll carry on next week as what happened after that. Whether Yusuf was detained or not, or was he allowed to go back, Binyamin. Inshallah, we'll carry on next week. Subhanallah.